Hey, what's going on, Luke here? It's been a little while since I did a tips and predictions video, but I thought seeing it as the semi-finals of the Rugby League World Cup in 2022, it was about time I brought them back. Now, I've done them all throughout the whole final series of the NRL and throughout just the NRL season in general. I've done it for years, but I haven't really done it for the World Cup. And to be honest with you, I haven't watched much of the World Cup, and I feel like a lot of people sort of share the same sentiment. One of my most popular videos of the last couple of weeks has been sort of why the World Cup's been shit, and I did a video about, the problems with the World Cup, but we're not here to talk about the problems of the World Cup. We're here to talk about some of the best moments of the World Cup, and that's going to be their finals, and that's going to be the semi-finals in particular. We have Australia up against New Zealand. We also have England up against Samoa. Two fantastic games. Two games that could go either way, to be honest with you. We easily could be seeing Samoa in the final of the Rugby League World Cup. Something that if you said maybe, a couple World Cups ago, you would have laughed at that, and that's the honest truth. You generally would have looked at them and went like, this is a side that had guys like Ben Roberts and stuff playing for them. There's no way they're ever going to be playing in the grand final of a World Cup. Like, it's just not going to happen. Even England, to a degree, they've always been in amongst it, but they've never looked as strong as what they have this World Cup. So I'm intrigued to see how they go. And then you look at teams like Australia and New Zealand, who very, very strong on paper, but haven't really looked too good in the games that they've played, albeit they've been winning. But, New Zealand got very, very lucky. But Australia have been absolutely carving up sides, but they haven't exactly been super impressive or cohesive. And I think that's a lot of it goes down to the fact that they're been swapping and changing their side. Like, I can't even look at the 1-17 and be like, that's the best side. I don't really know. Don't even know if they know. They've been swapping and changing between Cherry Evans, Cleary. They've been chucking Munster at fullback, taking Tedesco off at halftime. Been swapping with all the outside backs, swapping with all the forwards. Even down to the numbers, it makes it all seem weird. You've got backs playing in the number 8. You've got forwards playing in the number 3. You've got 21s. It's just a strange system Australia's got in general, in terms of team selection, in terms of number selection. Just hard to wrap my head around. But we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to go into the game and actually talk about the game. Australia versus New Zealand, who I think is going to win, all that sort of stuff. So I'm just looking at the team lineups. Ben Hunt's come into the side, as is Regan Campbell-Gillard and Ruben Cotter. Is Ruben Cotter starting? No, he's not. In fact, they're actually the reserve. So you got Ruben Cotter, who started in the first couple of games, but he's not even in the side. You've also got the combination of Nathan Cleary and Cameron Munster there, but you've also got Cherry Evans on the bench, and you've got Harry Grant on the bench. Ben Hunt has been named to start. I don't even know if they've actually been officially named to start. I feel like they just announced the side alphabetical order, and it makes it really, really weird, especially with the numbers, like I already said. But I've gone onto the team list on NRL.com, and this is the side that they've put out. So I don't know if this is exactly the case, but Ben Hunt, according to Rugby League, or NRL.com, I should say, is listed to start. Cherry Evans on the bench, same with Harry Grant. Either way, like whether it's Ben Hunt on the bench or, Harry Grant, Cherry Evans, whoever it is, very, very weird bench. You've got Cameron Murray and Paddy Carrigan, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton as the starters. Like, I feel like Cameron Murray should be starting, but I don't know. Like, in terms of the side, it's not a bad side. New Zealand, looking at their one, pretty much everything's the same as usual. You got Dylan Brown and Jerome Hughes there. Great little halves combination. You've got Joey Manu at fullback. You've got Brandon Smith, the hectic cheese in a hooker. This is the strongest side I've seen on paper for New Zealand in probably ever. Like, it's literally such a gun side on paper. Great forward pack, lots of great backs. I feel like a lot of the times in the past, the New Zealand sides have had great forwards, but the backs have sort of let them down a bit. Whereas now, like, they've got a gun fullback. They've had Roger Tuivasa-Sheck there and stuff, but you got Joey Manu, you got Mulatalo, Hiku and Nicole Clodstead, very, very solid, and you got Rapana as well, and Haas, obviously phenomenal. Just a very, very well-rounded side, I would say. They all seem to complement each other. In saying that, though, in terms of them actually on the park, haven't really hit it out of the park. So it's a very, very hard one to predict, because I feel like both of these sides have sort of just been doing enough to win. And I say that while they've been absolutely tallying up sides, but they've been tallying up some of the minnows of the comp. So I don't think we can look too much into that one. This is the first real test of both the sides, and it's come in the semi-finals, and I feel like that is a bit of a strange thing. Australia absolutely smashed Lebanon, but New Zealand got very, very lucky against Fiji. Fiji probably should have won that one. So does that say a lot about New Zealand, or does it say a lot about Fiji, or just the World Cup in general? I don't really know. But in terms of this one, I feel like Australia is going to win it. And I feel like the organisers have apparently already paid for the New Zealand flights home. And if they lose, it's going to cost them all this money and all that sort of stuff. I think, look, it's bad taste, but I think they're sort of spot on in terms of Australia should be the favourites. They're the reigning champions. And I feel like, even in terms of on paper, I feel like New Zealand have a very, very good side, but it's still not as good as the Australian one. Australia have all the big match players. They play State of Origin. I feel like that's actually something that doesn't get talked about, is for New Zealand, like, when it comes to these moments, yes, they have won in the past. They've obviously won a Four Nations and all that sort of stuff, but just in terms of the big matches. They don't get to play the big matches every year like New South Wales and Queensland players do, who make up the Australian side. They don't get to play in those big moments. That a lot of them come from sides that aren't playing in big moments. I mean, I'm looking at the side now. There's a lot of guys who've played in grand finals before and that sort of stuff, but just in terms of like actual big match players, like apart from the Storm boys, take them out, and there's not a lot of guys who have played a heap of big moments or a heap of big games. Whereas the Australian side is just full of them. Look, Tedesco, the captain of New South Wales, captain of Australia. Holmes, we know he's a big match player. Latrell, big match player. Jackie Whiten, Clive Churchill in a losing side. Josh Adokar, we know what he can do. But you just go through the whole side, and there's guys who can stand up in big moments. Whereas for New Zealand, I'm not sure that's the case. Like, are we going to see a Peter Hiku stand up? Probably not. But we are going to see a guy like Latrell Mitchell and Jack Whiten stand up if needed. So that's where I feel like Australia would just have a little bit of an edge. Is it going to be enough for them to like smash New Zealand or be convincing? I don't think so. I feel like at times New Zealand probably look like winning this one, but I think Australia's going to win this one 1-12. I feel this will be one of the closer games of the comp, but I think Australia's going to be progressing into the grand final of the Rugby League World Cup. Moving on to the second game, which is England up against Samoa. For me, like, I can only really sort of talk about Samoa because they're the side that's got all the NRL players in it. I mean, England have got a fair few, like going through them. Can't even look at the squads. I haven't even announced them, but just based off some of the previous ones, I mean, we've seen your Sam Tompkins and such. We've seen enough that like they do have a lot of good players in their side. It's just a matter of like, can the home crowd get them over the line? Because I think even on paper, I feel like the Samoa side looks like a better one. And we saw them absolutely smash Samoa at the start of the tournament. Samoa looked like shit, to be honest with you. But England, obviously England looked really good as well. They've looked good the whole tournament. But was that just a one-off? Is that going to give them a false sense of security? I feel like that's what Samoa's got to kind of hope. Hope that they don't get confident in a good way, and then England just come out and are like, there's no way we're losing, and just come out and smash them. Hopefully they sort of get a little bit of cockiness because they did smash them. Is this going to be the same sort of result as the first game? I don't think so. I actually think Samoa are a really good chance of upsetting England here. I don't even know if you would deem it an upset, like in terms of sports, but they are the outsiders. But at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily say they're the underdogs. Like, I mean, England are the home side, but Samoa is filled with NRL talent and filled with NRL talent of like a higher level at good teams, played in big games. England, they've played in some big games. They obviously are a great side. They've obviously already, put a score on Samoa at the start of the tournament, but for me, like, it's not as clear cut as what it seems. I think England will win this one. I think England will win it because of the home crowd, and I think they'll just be fired up. They'll get to the final, and I think they'll play Australia, but by no means do I think this is going to be an absolute hiding like it was when they played earlier in the tournament. So I am actually going to go 1-12 for this one as well. I think it's going to be close. I think the pressure is going to get to both of these sides, and I think Samoa have a lot of big game players who can step up, but just England, I feel like they might have that cohesion that Samoa doesn't really have. But I don't know. We saw a great game from Samoa and Tonga. Saw some good moments. Saw some really bad moments in defence as well. So we know Samoa are capable of some good things but some really bad things, whereas England have been so consistent throughout the whole tournament. But look, smart money says England, and smart money says Australia up against England in the grand final. That's probably, when you saw the draw, that was probably what people thought was going to happen anyways. But look, it's been an interesting sort of final series. I mean, if Fiji had beat New Zealand, that would have definitely threw some the spinner in the works, but it wasn't meant to be. But guys, that's my tips and predictions for the World Cup in terms of the semi-finals. Let me know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the World Cup so far? What are your tips and predictions? Who's going to be making the grand final? Who do you think is going to be the try scorers for these games? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to use the notification bell. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, we had to go ahead and chuck me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke and YT for the most part. My Facebook's Mr. Luke, but everything else, including Snapchat, including TikTok, is Mr. Luke and YT. Give me a follow, give me an ad. And that's where I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more content on the channel. Would have loved to have made some more videos over the World Cup, but wasn't meant to be. But guys, definitely going to be making some videos in the lead up to the grand final. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.